On the 20th of January 2009, Ekaterina Zinoveva returns home from work to see her housemate Maxim Golovatskikh and his friend Yuri Mozanov hungover watching TV. They were eating a stew made with meat, onions and potatoes. They offered Katerina some, and she sat eating the stew, blissfully unaware that the night before the two men had killed and dismembered a young woman in the house, and the stew she was eating was made with the flesh of the victim. Before we start, if you find this video fascinating, then at the end, please drop it a like and let me know what you thought about the case. It helps the channel. Also, don't forget to hit subscribe for more and hit the bell notification. Thank you. Karina Budichan, a young woman raised by a single mother, had always harboured a deep passion for the performing arts, and she worked tirelessly to attend a theatre school and perform in various productions. She also had an interest in writing, pouring her heart into poetry and short stories. She confided in her friends of her desire to attend a renowned theatre school in Russia and make her way to the United States with the goal of becoming an actress. With her love of the arts, it comes as no surprise to learn that she was also heavily into music, specifically heavy rock music. As she delved further into this world and attended more gigs, at the age of 15, she met a young man named Maxim, who was 19. Maxim became a big influence on Karina, and she began to dress like him, listen to the same music, and secretly began to fall in love with him. However, at the time they met, Maxim had a girlfriend, and he did not reciprocate Karina's feelings of love. They remained friends and continued to attend concerts together. Karina's mother, Nadia, had met Maxim during this time, and she said, "Karina told me about him. I tried to warn her off because he seemed to play with her emotions. He was too old for her, and he gave me the creeps." Life was good for Karina. She had hope for the future. She was discovering the world, and she was making new friends. Until the 19th of January 2009, the day of her disappearance. Karina had a typical school day. She attended her classes, and afterwards she went to a friend's house to study. As the night grew darker, Karina called her mother and asked about spending the night at her friend's to finish their homework. Little did her mother know that it would be the last time that she would ever hear her daughter's voice. Her mother gave her permission to stay, but told her to be back home for 7 a.m. Karina promised to be back, but she would never make it home again. Karina's mother, Nadia, is worried when she wakes up to find her daughter is not home. She calls her mobile, but no one answers, so she calls Karina's friend to find out where she is. The friend reveals that Karina had gone to meet someone after they had finished their homework, and that she had last seen her at the train station. Karina's mother immediately goes to the police station to report her daughter missing, and they begin to search right away, as she is only 16 years of age. For 2 long weeks, they look for her everywhere in the city, posting pictures and asking people if they have seen her. Desperate for answers, Karina's mother delved into her daughter's private diary and found dark, passionate love poems addressed to a man named Max. With a sense of impending doom, Nadia urged the authorities to question this Max in connection with Karina's disappearance, but unfortunately this was not investigated at the time. The news reported on a grisly discovery. The remains of a girl were found discarded in a garbage dump, her identity unknown. But as the forensic team delved deeper, the horrifying truth emerged. It was Karina. The once bright young girl had been brutally dismembered and her body discarded like trash. The cause of death, determined to be drowning, was only the beginning of the nightmare. The precise cuts on her body were made with a practiced hand and suggested the killer must have some expertise, possibly a butcher. The exact date of her death remained a mystery, but one thing was clear. This was a crime of horrific brutality. The investigation continued, but the question remained: who could have committed such a heinous act? The police then, out of nowhere, got a break. A young woman called Katerina Zinovaya said that Karina had been round her house the night of the disappearance. Her testimony to the police was like the missing puzzle piece they had been searching for. As she recounted the events, the officers listened intently, hanging on her every word. She said there had been a small house party with a few friends. Her housemate Maxim and his friend Yuri was there. There were also 2 other people at the party. They had been drinking for some time and were all intoxicated. At some stage, Maxim phones Karina and asks her to join the party. Once the call had ended, he turned and shouted across the room to Yuri and said, "The meat is coming." Nobody in the room really understood the darkness of what Maxim had just said, apart from Yuri. Eventually, Karina had joined them, full of laughter and a carefree spirit. The 6 of them had a great evening, drinking and listening to music. Eventually, Maxim announced that he wants to be alone with Karina, and he asks his friends to leave. He also asks his roommate, Katrina, to give them some space. So all of the guests leave, apart from Yuri. Maxim told Karina that he wanted to be intimate with her and asked her to take a bath with him. She did. Katrina, the housemate, said Karina was in love with Maxim and went to the bathroom with him. I went to bed. I was sleepy, but heard splashes of water and some noise. I decided to check out what was going on. Yuri stopped me and told me to go back to bed. They had joked earlier that they could kill Karina, but, of course, I couldn't believe for a second that they were serious. The cold calculation of the murder was evident, as Karina lay unaware in the bathtub, with Maxim sitting upon her legs. The facade of normality was shattered as Maxim sneezed 3 times. A prearranged signal for Yuri to enter and brutally force Karina's head beneath the water, both men conspiring to take her life. The act was nothing short of heinous, leaving a chilling reminder of the darkness that can reside within the hearts of humans. They meticulously harvested her organs. Her body parts, still warm with the remnants of life, were carefully portioned and prepared for their meal. Vegetables and potatoes were added to the mix, and as they cooked, Yuri and Maxim, with cold precision, cleaned every last trace of their heinous act from the bathroom. For if anyone were to ask, especially the unsuspecting roommate, they would simply say that Karina had left the house, just like all the others before her. But she would never leave. Not truly. For her remains, the ones they didn't cook, were neatly stored away in the freezer, and the evil duo put the rest of Karina's dismembered body, including her severed head, in plastic bags, which they dumped in a district in St. Petersburg. The investigation into the gruesome murder of Karina was relentless, with Yuri and Maxim as prime suspects. But as they sat across from the interrogators, their story twisted and turned, each trying to pin the blame on the other. But their lies could not hold up forever, and they both soon confessed to the heinous act they had committed. And when asked why they did this, Maxim coldly responded that they were hungry and that there was no food in the house. It's shocking to hear their utter lack of humanity. Investigators believe that the crime had been planned for some time, and when they found some of Karina's organs in Maxim's refrigerator, they knew they had the killers. To add to this, Maxim also worked as a market stall butcher to answer how the body had been mutilated in such a manner. The callousness with which they took a life for nothing more than a meal is truly terrifying. In addition to the murder, Maxim and Yuri were accused of stealing Karina's property: a camera, a mobile phone, an MP3 player with headphones, and 2 chains. During the trial, prosecutor Andrei Lavrenko said they cut up the body of the victim into several pieces, eating some of them and throwing the others into the bin. They cooked her meat and served up the meal with potatoes. The arrestees said they ate the girl's body parts because they were hungry. They even served up Karina to their unknowing housemate. At the end of the trial, Yuri took the last word and told the jury that he was a positive and kind person. In addition, the cannibal asked for leniency on his sentence, for a chance to save his soul. Maxim refused the last word, saying he was not ready. Shockingly, Nadia, Karina's mother, only found out of the grisly way her daughter had been killed and eaten by watching a TV news report. She said, "I collapsed and thought my heart was going to explode. What they did was barbaric." She said to the killers at the end of the trial, "You will burn in hell." Nadia continued, "They were oblivious to the pain they caused. When they murdered Karina, they killed my hopes for the future. Now I cling on to an image of her laughing and joking. They were so calm and matter of fact as they told how they killed and cooked her. I still don't understand why they did it. I brought her up to be trusting, but I was wrong. Life is empty without her, and the pain of letting her down will never leave me." Maxim and Yuri were found guilty of murder and jailed for 19 and 18 years respectively. They were both sentenced to serve their time in a place called the Colony, which is known to be a particularly brutal place to be an inmate. They have strict rules and run a regime dictated by labour and fitness. Regular beatings for inmates are also common. In March 2017, it was announced that Maxim had been found hanging in his cell, 8 years into his sentence. He had left a note which read, "I have finished my life in this body. The time has come to go away, in order to be reborn as a new person." Sources close to Maxim's family claim he never spoke of committing such an act, and he also did not complain about the colony staff or beatings. Quite the opposite. He believed in himself and that he would soon be free. He was waiting for the decision on a review of his case. Maxim, until the end, claimed that he had nothing to do with the murder of Karina, and even more so, did not consider himself a cannibal. That's all we got time for in this episode. Until next time, stay sane.
Isang bus ang tumigil at may bumabang pasahero. At ilang sandali lamang sa kalagitnaan ng highway, bigla itong naglaho.
Tigdayan napapara nga bagalay ang burang nga napapara. Anamon napil sobrang kahadlok. Tigdadayon kami naggagawas ni nga barangay hall kay sobrang amon kahadlok.
The Queen of the Coast took me to the industrial and manufacturing zone of the underwater civilization. I saw machines designing lotions and makeup products of all kinds. I was told that their scientists, chemists, alchemists, metaphysicians have the ability to take an African and turning him to a Westerner or a Chinese and sending him back to the world on the land, and no one would know. They can take a Westerner and turn him to an Indian and give him a new identity. Then I saw the pharmaceutical manufacturing industry. They were designing medication and pharmaceutical products. In this world, they can turn a man to a woman biologically. I saw numerous scientists, chemists, and physicians. When we moved again, I saw weapon development industries. I saw scientists and demons working on many designs of advanced weaponry systems. I saw many different kinds of bombs being developed. I saw many drawings and designs of mass destruction bombs yet to be built. It is written in James 3:15, "Such wisdom does not come from above, but it is earthly, unspiritual, demonic." Many of the technological instruments and items we are using on the earth are not from the wisdom of this world, but is demonic wisdom and intelligence. There are scientists in pacts and covenants with the marine and demonic civilization. They are the ones collaborating with hybrid demons underwater, and they bring us these technological instruments that we are enjoying on Earth. Then the Queen of the Coast said to me, "As you came to this realm, you will be big on Earth. You will be noticed on Earth." I used to go to the market in the city where my grandmother was selling stuff. And in the market there was a man who was a money changer. When I noticed this man, I sent him the spirit of seduction. As a result, he started to come to me and he was seduced. He fell in love with me. In truth, I am the one who caused him to fall for me. However, at that time I was pregnant, but he did not know about it. But the thing is that the pregnancy that I had was not of this world. I was pregnant in the marine kingdom. Despite the fact that this pregnancy was not of a physical origin, I was supposed to deliver this baby from the water kingdom physically on the surface. The baby was an avatar, he was a human spirit. I mean, we are dealing with a man who was in black magic, who served the devil and died on the earth, then continued his life in the marine kingdom, that decided that he should return to the surface for a mission. Thanks to a physical birth, the goddess Elizabeth and Jacqueline had resolved to send this man back to the surface of the earth on a specific mission. I made it clear that the rate of demons and marine spirits that are migrating and born in human families is increasing. Many families don't realize that some of their family members are not human, they are marine spirits. Thus, demons are born physically on the earth. When the siren Elizabeth and Jacqueline resolved to send this old man on the surface of the earth for a new life, they placed his spirit in my womb and I became pregnant on the surface. Given that I was pregnant physically, I was supposed to find a man to whom I will attribute this pregnancy. I wanted a man before the whole family discovered that I am pregnant, so that this man will take responsibility for this pregnancy of the marine world. When the family discovered that I was pregnant, I lied to my family that the pregnancy belonged to this man who was in love with me. In truth, it was not his pregnancy. It was from the water world. I said in the spiritual world, I was an adult and a big lady, even if I was a young girl in the physical world. The moment I began the relationship with this man, I had to have sex with him in order to lie to him that I was carrying his pregnancy. On that day on Christmas, the man took me to his place and we had sex. Months later, the pregnancy of the water world became visible, and then I told my family about the supposed father of the baby who accepted this responsibility. When I was supposed to deliver, I went to the hospital. The midwife who helped me was a witch. I was also a witch, and the child was an avatar. He was a beautiful baby, and apparently there was nothing wrong with him. Yet he was not a normal baby. He grew up and developed normally. There was no way people could know that the child came from the marine world. It was one day when I went to my mother's church that the pastor began to pray for every single member of the church. When the pastor came to me, he said, "Why are you not abandoning witchcraft? I prayed for your deliverance, yet you are still practicing magic." Actually, the pastor prayed for me previously, but I refused to abandon dark practices because I was enjoying it. And I only abandoned it when I was tired of it. Then the pastor said to me, "I can see that you have a baby at home. I want that baby to be brought here." Beloved, the moment the pastor talked about the baby in this church, I saw with my spiritual eyes that the baby who was an avatar began to cry. He reacted the very moment the pastor mentioned him in the church because he was a marine spirit. Later, the protocol rushed to my place and brought the baby to the church. When the pastor saw the baby, he said to me, "This baby is not a normal child. He is an avatar. He is not from the physical world. He comes from the spiritual world." The pastor asked me, "Where did you get this baby?" I said, "I got the pregnancy from the marine world." The pastor said to me and my family, "Do not mistreat the baby because of the revelation. Treat him well, but I will pray so that he can die and return to the marine world where he came from." On that day in the church, the pastor prayed for the baby to die and return to the marine kingdom. From that day, I never breastfeed that child again. And from that day onwards, the baby who was an avatar refused to eat. He was no longer eating until he died and returned to the water kingdom where he came from. On that day when the pastor gave these words of knowledge, he said to me, "You will abandon witchcraft, or you will die, and things will get tough for you." From that day onward, I avoided traveling to the marine world. Actually, this baby was an old man who had died and continued his life in the marine kingdom. The siren had put him in my womb so that he will reborn on the surface of the earth and continue his life of destruction on the surface of the earth. The baby was superior to me in terms of power and position in the dark world. Thus, there are babies in maternity that are not ordinary humans, but they are avatars. They came to Earth to cause destruction. This baby was an old man older than me. He continued to come out of the body, and often he was calling me to join him. But I refused because I was afraid of the word of the man of God. We knew the identity and the power of the pastor. That is why I feared the consequences of going against his words. People in the family were considering killing this baby. They kept away from him and they were afraid of him. This baby was no longer eating until he died and went back to the water kingdom. This is the reality of the world in which we are dwelling. There are people who seem human, but they come from the dark world. In the village, there was a mother who had delivered her baby, but there was something about this baby. She was tirelessly drinking her mom breast milk to the point that the mother was in pain. Every time this baby was removed from the breast, she was crying and would not stop until she is put back to the breast. This affected the health of her mother, until one day when the mother went to the field. As soon as she placed the baby on the soil in order to work, the child began to cry. The mother could not bear it, so she put her baby on her back, yet the baby continued to cry. The mother continued to work in the field while the baby was crying. Suddenly, an old woman came out of the bush, began to shout to the mother and said to her, "You old lady, you think you are a child. You are an old woman and you making this lady suffer?" The mother thought the lady was talking to her. She asked the lady, "Are you talking to me?" The lady replied, "I am not talking to you. I'm talking to the old woman that you are carrying on your back. She is an old person. How can an old woman torture your life?" Suddenly, the baby dropped to the ground and became an old woman, and she chased that lady to the bush. Since that day, she was never seen again. We are living with humans who are avatars. They are not of this world. They are presidents, politicians, and leaders. Initially, when my mother knew that I was a witch, she took me to church so that the pastor can deliver me, but in my heart, I had not decided to abandon witchcraft. Given that I was not willing to let go, I was not delivered. Although the pastor prayed hard, nothing happened. A witch can be delivered only when he decided to abandon and come to Christ. Please, viewers of Heaven Updates, before you begin this message, please take a pause to like, share, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Now, we proceed. After Lucifer and I left the first heaven, we traveled to the second heaven, which is a kingdom in the firmament ruled by the Queen of Heaven, who is responsible for commissioning humans to create false religions. The pentacle of the Queen of Heaven depicts 12 stars with a cross on top of the letter M, and this M is the abbreviation of her name, Mary Margella. She is called by many names such as the Blessed Virgin Mary, the Mother of God, Our Lady of Fatima, Mystical Rose, Our Lady Star of the Sea, Immaculate Conception, etc. The Queen of Heaven. Mary Margella has 12 spirits surrounding her throne, represented by 12 stars. These 12 stars are 12 fallen angels that she sent out on missions all the time. The mission of these 12 spirits is giving false revelations to humankind. She entered into covenants with humans so that they can be worshipped on earth like gods through false religions. These are also false prophets and spiritual leaders in religions like Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, Kimbagism, Islam, Baha'ism, Buddhism, yoga, and all the satanic spiritual movements. As I was traveling with Lucifer, he said to me that on earth, there are many of his churches, religions, and spiritual movements. He said to me, "You have to choose a church or religious movement connected to my kingdom, and my churches and religions can be identified by hidden signs and symbols which you must know." Jeremiah 10:2. This is what the Lord says, "Do not learn the ways of the nations or be terrified by signs in the heavens, though the nations are terrified by them." Although the nations are terrified by them, in fact, false churches wear garments and uniforms with drawings of these signs and symbols. Some of these signs and symbols can be seen in the church's logos and banners. We have this sign here of a cross superimposed by the letter S. This S is Satan above the cross. Christian sects call this sign Holy Spirit, but that is false. It is a false principle guiding these false churches and false religions, which means Satan is the opponent of the preaching of the cross. The main feature of an apostate church is the downgrading of the name of Jesus. We see it with the Jehovah's Witnesses sect, where the name Jehovah is emphasized above the name of Jesus. It is the same thing in the Catholic Church, where Mary is given more prominence than Jesus or the Holy Spirit. She is called co-mediatrix and co-redemptrix. It is the same thing with Brahmanism and Kimbagism. It is their spiritual leaders that are exalted above Jesus. In these false religions, there is also this symbol called the mystical key. It is supposed to be the key that Jesus gave to Peter according to the Catholic Church, but that is not the case. You can see this key on the Pope's coats of arms. This is symbolic of false religions because in false religions, spiritual leaders will claim that unless you believe his message, you are lost. The Catholic Church teaches infallibly, extra ecclesiam nulla salus, or outside the church there is no salvation. This is the case for Jehovah's Witnesses, Brahmanism, Kimbanguism. The Bible refers to this mystical key when Jesus said to the Pharisees, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the kingdom of heaven in men's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let in those who wish to enter." Matthew 23:13. They have the religious spirits with dogmas and credos and diabolical doctrines, and when you follow them, the door of heaven is closed for you. This symbol here is a pyramid that is in the American dollar, and the eye on top of the pyramid is showing the top class, the elites of the human society. This is a symbol of the Illuminati, which is a branch of the Freemasons. In this satanic sect, they do rituals and human sacrifices. This is the third eye. The third eye is in the middle of the forehead. Occultic sects like the Ekankar, New Age, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, Zen Buddhism, etc. emphasize the development of the third eye. Once their third eye is opened, they will see into demonic realms and portals. One day I encountered a demon in the name of Brahma. He has 4 faces and 4 hands. He is the demon of revelation. He is among those demons waiting in the demonic realms to deceive those with third eyes coming into those realms, giving them false prophecies, false visions, false hopes of salvation. Christians can pray for their spiritual eyes to be opened. Praying in tongues for long hours may help one to open his spiritual eyes and see the work of angels and demons. When the spiritual eye is opened, one can easily minister healing and deliverance, as he will be able to see where the demons are oppressing a person and cast them out, or where an angel of healing is ministering healing to a person and call out the word of healing or word of knowledge. However, it is also possible that if such a Christian falls into sin, his spiritual eye can be diverted to see deceptive demonic realms, where demons will masquerade as angels of light or some biblical saints and give false visions and false prophecies and false revelations. This cross you see here on the Catholic priest vestment have these letters IHS. IHS is the first 3 letters of the name Jesus in Greek. So, the IHS symbol means Jesus to the Catholics and other denominations that use this Christogram. But this is a deception foisted on these churches to carry the names of the Egyptian gods. When Satan and his demons see this sign IHS, they consider such churches as belonging to them. IHS is the abbreviation of the Egyptian gods Isis, Horeb, Seth. The 4th letter O that stands for Osiris is symbolized by the circle of rays around the letters IHS. In Egyptian mythology, Seth is portrayed as the usurper who killed and mutilated his own brother Osiris. Osiris's wife Isis reassembled his corpse and resurrected her dead husband long enough to conceive his son and heir Horus. Horus sought revenge upon Seth, and the myths describe their conflicts. In some circles, not depicted above, it is written, "You all come to me." What does it mean? It is a call to the gods of ancient Egypt. This is a sign of a false church well known in the country. It is a triangle with these 5 stars, which are 5 demons, giving them revelation or divination. When one of their ministers is ordained, they will put in him one of these 5 stars, which are demons of divination or false revelation. If you go consulting him, he will reveal to you your life and what is hidden, but it is not the Holy Spirit but demonic revelation. Churches represented by a rainbow with stars is a sign that it has made a pact with the Queen of Heaven. Even Islam has the star and half moon alluding to the Queen of Heaven. This hand sign here is a Freemasonry sign. The devil's horn signal signifies that Satan rules. Remember that Satan is called the horned god, and the hand signal is formed so as to resemble horns. It is a universal hand signal used by politicians, celebrities, as well as heavy metal bands, affirming their allegiance to satanic powers, and a visual shorthand for "Hail, Satan." The devil's hand has been observed and photographed around the world, used by George Bush, Bill Clinton, Silvio Berlusconi, Elizabeth Taylor, Prince William, Paul McCartney, Metallica, Ozzy, Avril Lavigne, Stephen Dorff, Dave Navarro, and many others. Even the popes have used this sign, thinking it means, "I love you," but they are unconsciously giving a salute to Satan. This is called the Italian horns. It is a symbol of magical power used in Italy. The representative of Lucifer on earth is in the Vatican, the Pope. The kingdom of Lucifer is advanced and organized, and in every country on earth, the devil has assigned representatives who are ambassadors and principalities. Let me tell you about these representatives stationed all over the world in every country in order to govern and control all the countries and report to Lucifer. They know whatever is happening in all the countries, and they know people living in these countries. They know who moved in and who moved out of the country that they are ruling. Let me mention some of them. When witches or occultists from abroad want to attack you, they will contact the principality or ambassador ruling your country, as he has all the data about you and everyone living in the country. The population of each country is influenced by these principalities who are ambassadors of Satan. In our country, Congo, the infernal ambassador or principality ruling is called Zaire. He is ruling and reporting everything about our country to Lucifer. When Mobutu came to power, he changed the country's name from Congo to Zaire, which is the name of the principality under the Congo River, the infernal ambassador of the kingdom of darkness. The ambassador of the devil in Egypt is called Aper. The United Kingdom is ruled by the principality called Mammon, who is the infernal kingdom finance minister. No man can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate one and love the other, or else he will hold to one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and Mammon. Matthew 6:24. Lucifer's ambassador ruling Italy and reporting everything is called Belial, The country of France is ruled by Belphegor. He controls all the occultic groups in France and reports to the kingdom of Lucifer. India is ruled by Asura. In Russia, it is Rimmon, and Spain is ruled by Tammuz. Belgium is ruled and influenced by Abramash. Germany is ruled by Arneberg. He is hot-tempered and an intensely angry demon. Switzerland is ruled by Martine. The American continent is ruled by Agna. She appears all the time and people see her. Iraq or Babylon is ruled by Lilith. The Marine Kingdom, the Queen of the Coast. Generally, people perceive marine spirits as half fish, half human. But marine spirits and underwater creatures have different hybrids, shapes, and there are different marine creatures and monsters having different shapes. When Lucifer and I reached the marine civilization, Lucifer introduced me to the Queen of the Coast. Before leaving me with the Queen, Lucifer gave me a magical cord which was a means of communication with him. This item was in the shape of intertwined number 6 that you have to place on your ear in order to establish a contact, and I could use it to contact many other spirits, because it was like a phone. The Queen of the Coast told me that the people in Congo are praying so much these days that their prayers are disturbing the marine kingdom and making them uncomfortable. I kept silent, listening, and wondering to myself. She told me to follow her, and we entered a place where I saw reserves of baby umbilical cords. There were a lot of them, and the people were working to transform them into sardines. They were putting these umbilical cords into machines and changing them to sardines and putting them into sardine tins. Then the Queen of the Coast told me, "I am giving you the task of selling these sardines in your country. You have to give them to suppliers on credit so that they would take their time to pay you back the money later." She said, "Sell these sardines at a cheaper price to the suppliers so that the sardine tins can be on top of other brands of sardines." I replied, "You transformed these baby umbilical cords to sardines and you want to sell them to the people on Earth. What is the effect on those who eat them?" She answered, "When humans buy and eat these sardines, they will be initiated into subconscious witchcraft. As a consequence, even if they go to church, they will have the inclination and tendency to do evil, and they will be carnal despite their efforts. On top of that, eating human flesh is a sin." Then we moved to another place where they were making sardines from men's genital organs. After transformation in their machines, these genital organs were turned to sardines. In the country, people were eating these sardines as they were popular and cheap. One of the brands of these sardines was called Sardine Annie, and on the tin can, there was a seal of the Queen of the Coast and there was a mermaid picture. The Queen of the Coast said to me, "You will lend Indian and Pakistani suppliers these sardines at a cheap and affordable price, and they would supply them to sellers all over the country at affordable prices so that people would eat, and then they would be initiated and bewitched." Let me tell you that these sardines were so popular in the country, and people liked them so much, and we sold them at cheap prices. The Queen of the Coast said to me, "You are entering a dynamic world. You will have to do a lot of assignments and missions, and to fulfill your assignments, you must be able to disguise yourself." She continued, "Apart from your human shape, you must be equipped with the power to take many other shapes at will, depending on the assignment you are given, as you will be doing many operations. If you have just one shape or human shape, you will be detected easily. When you go back to Earth, you will kill a chameleon and you will dry its skin. Then you will bring it all together with perfume Aus Arabia or Sudan. These two perfumes contain mystical virtues. You must determine the animal you will be shape-shifting to, whether an insect or a crocodile. Whatever animal you want, you will bring the skin of that animal. Then I will give you a magical prayer that will enable you to shape-shift to the shape you determine or you want. You will be able to turn to a woman or a Westerner and to any shape you want." I was told that the Marine Kingdom is a world of code. It is a world of formulas and magic. When you light up candles in a triangular shape and burn incense and recite some words, you will see that there is a result or reaction. This is how this world functions. Then the Queen of the Coast said to me, "The world you live in is a world of time and space. It is bound to space and time element, but you will need to move in hyperspace at great speed for your operations because their cars, trains, and planes are very slow. Therefore, You need a means of transportation at high speed. Then she gave me a flying carpet. It was red. The queen said to me, "You notice that the carpet is red because for it to fly, you will need to offer human sacrifices. It will require 12 humans as sacrifice to activate this flying carpet." When I heard that, I was silent. She said to me, "I will give you a magic wand. It has the shape of the letter P, which means power. Before traveling, you will hit the flying carpet with the magic wand. You will say or specify the destination or the name of the country you want to travel to. As a result, you will move at an extraordinary speed of thought to your destination. You can travel from Congo to America in 2 or 3 minutes because a plane is very slow." The Queen of the Coast said, "Many of the things you are using on the surface of the earth come from here. We design them in our kingdom." She took me to a massive hall. I was blown away as I saw all kinds of people. The Queen said, "These are the world's biggest and greatest fashion models, stylists, and designers. They are the designers of most of the clothes that people are wearing on the surface of the earth. If you want to design fashion clothes that will become popular on the surface of the earth, you will need to come here like everybody else." She said, "The people you see here are the ones designing the clothes you wear on the land, because fashion and design originated here. I remember in the book of Zephaniah that it is written that God is against foreign trends. Zephaniah 1:8, "And it shall be in the day of Jehovah's sacrifice, I will punish the rulers and the king's sons, and all who are clothed in foreign clothing." Here the Bible is not referring to foreign countries, but it is referring to the non-terrestrial origin, non-physical world, the unseen world. The physical world has its own ways and cultures, and the world of darkness has also its own ways, dressings, cultures, trends, and the Bible is against it. The Queen of the Coast took me to the industrial and manufacturing zone of the underwater civilization. I saw machines designing lotions and makeup products of all kinds. I was told that their scientists, chemists, alchemists, metaphysicians have the ability to take an African and turning him to a Westerner or a Chinese and sending him back to the world on the land, and no one would know. They can take a Westerner and turn him to an Indian and give him a new identity. Then I saw the pharmaceutical manufacturing industry. They were designing medication and pharmaceutical products. In this world, they can turn a man to a woman biologically. I saw numerous scientists, chemists, and physicians. When we moved again, I saw weapon development industries. I saw scientists and demons working on many designs of advanced weaponry systems. I saw many different kinds of bombs being developed. I saw many drawings and designs of mass destruction bombs yet to be built. It is written in James 3:15, "Such wisdom does not come from above, but it is earthly, unspiritual, demonic." Many of the technological instruments and items we are using on the earth are not from the wisdom of this world, but is demonic wisdom and intelligence. There are scientists in pacts and covenants with the marine and demonic civilization. They are the ones collaborating with hybrid demons underwater, and they bring us these technological instruments that we are enjoying on Earth. Then the Queen of the Coast said to me, "As you came to this realm, you will be big on Earth. You will be noticed on Earth. I am giving you a map of the world and a crystal ball. No spirit will ever bother you." She also gave me a defense chain that I was supposed to wear on my neck. She said to me, "When you wear this chain, and when you travel to hyperspace and astral realm for vigil hunt, all the spirits will know that you are untouchable. You are mandated by Lucifer. You will not be attacked. In the astral realm and the spirit world, there is always a test of powers when you meet an occultist or a spirit. They have the tendency to try and test your power, even to attack you." The Queen of the Coast then said to me, "Now that you know what you are supposed to know, you have to go back to your world. If you need me, you will come around the river and you will do this prayer. As a result, my messengers will appear to you. Then you can give them letters. They will bring those letters to me." The messengers that the Queen of the Coast was referring to were mermaids or sirens. The Queen of the Coast said, "Normally to see me is not easy. You have to go through the protocol and many things, but if you met me like this, it is because you came with our greatest leader. He is the supreme leader of the whole world. But usually, people had to go through mermaids and sirens who are my messengers who come regularly to your world on the surface. She said, I don't have time to come to your world. I am managing a massive civilization beneath the ocean here. But if you need money, cars, houses, we are controlling all these things here. The physical world on the surface is managed from here. She said, okay, I am sending you back to the surface. Your mission, for now, is to sell these sardines, and when they are finished, you will write a letter with your blood on parchment and specify the number of sardine boxes you want, and you will throw it in the waters. I will send a boat to unload these boxes of sardines exactly where you drop the letters, but you should not eat these sardines. You are just a supplier. We want people on the surface to eat them so that they will be initiated. Then she sent me back to the surface of the earth. I landed at the priest's house. He was not there, but after some time he came back and greeted me. He said, how do you like the unseen world? I said, I am very impressed. He said, now this is not a joke anymore. You have to be serious because failure to keep the rules will land you in danger. He said, I like you and I don't want you to be in danger, as a mistake can put you in danger. Then I said to the priest, one thing bothering me is the fact that I have to sacrifice 12 humans if I want to activate the flying carpet. The priest replied, you should not worry about human sacrifice. You will read books and you will see that people have done more than that, and even in the Catholic Church we practice human sacrifice, although people don't know about it. When someone is sick, sometimes people call us priests to intervene and pray for the sick. We have a special Eucharist called the Last Rites, and we have oil with which we anoint the sick. Once the sick person is anointed and he eats the last Eucharist, he would die not long after that, because there is a mystery about this rite. The oil is called the stimulating oil of death, and the Eucharist is called the biscuit of death. This Eucharist has a symbol of 3 letters, which is IHS, which means Isis, Horus, and Seth, and the Eucharist is round in order to symbolize the initial of Osiris. One day the priest was called to intervene in a family as their dad was sick. While we were leaving, the priest said to me, after we have anointed him and we got him to eat the Eucharist, you should not look back, otherwise his soul will follow you. When we went there, the priest anointed him and gave him the Eucharist. The moment he finished eating the Eucharist, I noticed a strange reaction. It was the beginning of the process of death. After some minutes, we were informed of his death. I want to tell you that if a member of your family is a Catholic and that one day you see him sick and you see him trying to get the priest to pray for him, to anoint him and give him the Eucharist, you better stop the priest from praying for him or anointing him or giving him the Eucharist. Otherwise, you will lose him. I have seen many people being anointed by a Catholic priest and dying as a result. Therefore, be warned. Then the priest said to me, you have leaped over many stages by seeing superior spirits, but that should not stop you from learning and reading. Then the priest showed me a book about African black magic, Indian and Asian red magic, and European white magic. To be continued in the next part. Grace be with you all who have Jesus Christ as Master. Amen.
January 19, 2009, Thursday, sa St. Petersburg, Russia. Isang nakakabahalang pangyayari ang bumulabog sa isang tahimik na komunidad sa Russia. Si Karina Barduchan, isang 16-year-old talented artist, ay biglang nawala matapos ang isang late-night rehearsal sa isang bahay ng kanyang kaibigan. Habang sinisiyasat ng mga autoridad ang mga pangyayari, biglang lumitaw ang kwento ng tensyon at kompetisyon sa pagitan ng kanyang mga kaklase. Isa sa pinakamalapit niyang kaibigan ang napabilang sa mga person of interest na iniimbestigahan. Ngunit walang malinaw na sagot kung may kinalaman nga ba ito sa pagkawala ni Karina. Lalo pang naging palaisipan ng kaso nang madiskubre ang isang dula na isinulat ni Karina. Isang kwento na tila nagbubunyag ng mga sensitibong issue ng kanilang paaralan. Ano nga ba ang dahilan sa likod ng insidenteng ito? Inggit? Takot? O may mas malalim pang dahilan? Samahan niyo kami sa kwentong ito habang tinutuklas natin ang rason sa likod ng kaso ni Karina. Bago tayo magumpisa, baka pwede pa like ng video na ito. Malaking bagay na to sa aming mga content creators. Maraming salamat po. Si Karina ay isang dalagitang may simpleng pangarap. At ngayon, ipapakilala ko siya sa inyo. Isang 16 years old na mahilig magsulat ng tula sa kanyang silid. Sa loob ng kwarto ni Karina Ban, may mga stuffed animals pa sa kanyang kama. Bagay na nagpapakita kung gaano pa siya kabata at kung gaano karami pang pangarap ang maaari sana niyang matupad. Ngunit sa isang gabi lang, lahat ng iyon ay nawala sa pinakabrutal na paraan. Year 2009, habang ang mundo ay patuloy na bumabangon mula sa isang global financial crisis, si Karina naman ay nagsusumikap sa St. Petersburg, Russia. Upang kumita ng karagdagang pera, naglalagay siya ng promotional flyers sa iba't ibang bahagi ng lungsod sa pagitan ng kanyang mga klase. Malaki ang kanyang mga pangarap, makapasok sa isang paaralan ng teatro, maging isang aktres at balang araw, makarating sa Amerika. Puno ng tula ang kanyang mga notebook, mga tula na sinulat ng may umiigting na damdamin. Mga salita mula sa isang kabataan na puno ng emosyon at pangarap. Ngunit ngayon, mas mabigat isipin ang kahulugan ng mga iyon dahil hindi na niya nagawang magsulat pang muli. At dito, nagsisimula ang madilim na bahagi ng kanyang kwento. Hindi lang ito simpleng kaso ng krimen. Mas malalim ang ugat nito, isang kwento na nagpapakita ng mga kakulangan sa sistemang dapat sanay nagprotekta sa kanya. Si Karina ay mahilig sa alternative music, lalo na sa heavy metal, isang normal na interes para sa maraming kabataan. Ngunit, sa isa sa mga concerts na kanyang dinaluhan, may isang taong dumating sa kanyang buhay, isang taong hindi lang nagbago ng kanyang kapalaran, kundi tuluyang tumapos dito. Si Maxim Golovatskikh, 19 years old. Isang part-time butcher at lead singer ng isang gothic band na tinatawag na Sherry. Sa unang tingin, maaaring magmukhang isang kwento ng musika at romansa, ngunit sa katotohanan, malayo ito sa ganoon. Dahil sa likod ng kanyang imahe, si Maxim ay may madilim na nakaraan. Noon pa man, na-confine na siya sa isang mental institution. May record siya ng pagmamalupit sa mga hayop, maraming babala, mga red flag na kitang-kita para sa isang mas nakatatandang tao. Ngunit sa isang 16 years old, hindi laging ganoon kadali makita ang panganib. Mula pa lang sa simula, may kutob na siya. At nang mapansin niya ang kakaibang pagtrato ni Maxim sa kanyang anak, nagbigay siya ng babala. Sa isang panayam, sinabi niya, "Pakiramdam ko, nilalaro niya ang emosyon ng anak ko. Masyado siyang matanda para kay Karina. At hindi maganda ang pakiramdam ko tungkol sa kanya." At hindi lang iyon. May ibang kasintahan si Maxim noong panahong iyon. Ngunit pinili niyang panatilihin si Karina sa kanyang paligid. Isang reserba, isang pagpipilian, hindi bilang isang tunay na kasintahan. Alam ni Nadia na may mali. Gumawa siya ng paraan upang pigilan ang anak niya. Ngunit kung ikaw ay isang kabataan na umiibig, minsan, mas nagiging matibay ang iyong kagustuhan kapag mas pinipigilan ka. Ngunit sa katotohanan, hindi lang si Maxim ang nagkulang kay Karina. Nagkulang ang sistema. Nang hindi nito natukoy ang mga babala sa ugali ni Maxim, nang hindi nito nabigyan ng sapat na suporta ang mga kabataang maaaring nasa panganib, nang naging normal sa lipunan ang mas matatandang lalaki na nakikisalamuha sa mas bata sa isang mapanlinlang na paraan. At ngayon, pag-usapan natin ang huling gabi ni Karina. Nagsimula ito sa isang tawag. Tumawag siya sa kanyang ina upang magpaalam kung maaari siyang manatili sa bahay ng isang kaibigan upang tapusin ang isang history project. Isang pamilyar na dahilan. Isang bagay na madalas sabihin ng mga kabataan upang makalabas ng bahay. Ngunit ang sagot ng kanyang ina, "Mas gugustuhin ko pang bumagsak ka sa subject kaysa lumabas ka ngayong gabi." Ang sagot ni Karina, "Ma'am, huwag kang mag-alala. Uuwi ako bago mag 7 AM. Alam ko ang ginagawa ko." At ang mga salitang iyon, hindi na mawawala sa isip ng kanyang ina dahil hindi siya sa kaibigan niya pupunta. Naanyayahan siya sa isang maliit na pagtitipon sa apartment ni na Maxim, Yuri Masov at isang babae na si Etina Zova. At dito na naging tunay na nakakabahala ang kwento. Nang ma-recover ang mga text messages ni Maxim bago pa dumating si Karina, isang bagay ang lumutang. Tinawag niya ang dalaga bilang isang karne. The meat is coming. Ang sabi nito, habang si Karina ay abala sa paghahanda, nag-iisip ng susuotin at marahil ay may konting excitement sa kanyang puso. Iba ang nakikita ni Maxim sa kanya. Hindi siya isang tao. Hindi siya isang individual. Para kay Maxim, isa lamang siyang bagay. Dumating ang 7 a.m. Wala pa rin si Karina at doon na nagsimulang mag-alala ng husto ang kanyang ina. Ginawa niya ang lahat ng tama. Tinawagan niya ang anak niya ng paulit-ulit. Kinausap niya ang mga kaibigan nito. Pumunta siya sa pulis. At nang makarating siya sa presinto, isang pangalan lang ang sinabi niya sa mga opisyal. Hanapin niyo si Maxim. Sa labis na pag-aalala, binasa ni Nadia ang diary ng kanyang anak. Pilit binubuo ang mga piraso ng misteryo. Umaasang may mahahanap siyang sagot. Alam niyang si Maxim ang dahilan ng pagkawala ni Karina. Wala pa mang ebidensya noon. Sigurado siyang may kinalaman ito sa pagkawala ng kanyang anak. Ngunit dito, muling nabigo ang sistema. Sa halip na ituring ito bilang isang seryosong kaso ng pagkawala, tinrato ito ng mga pulis bilang isang ordinaryong kaso ng teenage runaway. Dahil tila, ganoon na lang ang trato ng lipunan sa mga nawawalang dalagitang tulad ni Karina, na parang wala silang halaga. Ang mas nakakapagtaka, walang batas na nagsasabing kailangang maghintay bago i-report ang isang taong nawawala. Hindi sa Russia, hindi sa US, wala kahit saan. Pero sa kabila nito, patuloy na nagiging normal na gawain ng mga autoridad ang maghintay bago umaksyon. Isang unofficial wait-and-see approach na tila nakatanim na sa sistema. Dahil sa pananaw ng lipunan, ang mga kabataang babae ay madalas na nagpapapansin lang o nagpapakasutil. Noong 2009 sa Russia, gaya ng maraming lugar hanggang ngayon, isang toxic pattern ang umiiral. Kapag nawawala ang isang teenager, sa halip na seryosohin agad, madalas ay pinapabayaan lang ito. Baka nasa bahay lang ng kaibigan, o babalik din yan kapag gusto niyang mapansin. Ngunit ang katotohanan ay nakakatakot. Ayon sa National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, ang unang 48 hours matapos mawala ang isang tao, ang pinakamahalagang oras para matagpuan siyang buhay. Sa loob ng 2 linggo, tiniis ni Nadia ang isang bangungot na hindi kayang ilarawan ng kahit anong salita. Nilagyan niya ng mga flyers ang buong lungsod. Nagsumamo siya sa kahit sinong maaaring may impormasyon. Halos hindi na siya natulog, pilit hinahanap ang anak niya. Pero sa kabila ng lahat ng ito, mas malala pa ang totoo kaysa sa kahit anong pinakamasamang bangungot. Matapos ang investigasyon, lumabas ang isang nakakakilabot na katotohanan. Plinano na nina Maxim at Yuri ang lahat. Hindi ito isang crime of passion. Hindi ito isang aksidenteng nagkamali lang. Matagal na nilang pinaghandaan ng gabing iyon. Nang makaalis ang ibang bisita, naiwan si Karina sa apartment kasama sina Maxim at Yuri. Sa puntong iyon, inanyayahan siya ni Maxim na maligo kasama niya. At dito na natapos ang buhay ni Karina. Hindi siya namatay agad. Hindi ito naging mabilis. Hindi ito naging madali. Dahan-dahan siyang nalunod. Habang umiiyak, nagpupumiglas at nagmamakaawa sa taong inakala niyang kaibigan. Pero mas lalo pang lumala ang kasunod na nangyari. Sa kabilang kwarto, naroon si Etina Zova, isa sa kanilang mga kasama sa bahay. Sa kanyang testimonya sa korte, sinabi niyang narinig niya ang tunog ng tubig at mga ingay mula sa banyo. Pero hindi siya nabahala. Natutulog siya nang marinig ang tunog ng tubig at kung ano-anong ingay, pero hindi niya inisip na may masamang nangyayari. Nagising siya at nagtangkang sumilip, pero pinigilan siya ni Yuri sa hallway. Sinabihan siyang bumalik na lang sa kama. Nagtaka siya, pero hindi niya naisip na may isang kakilakilabot na krimen nang nagaganap sa loob mismo ng kanilang apartment. Dahil paano mo naman iisipin na ang mga taong nakakasama mo araw-araw ay may kakayahang gumawa ng ganitong klase ng kasamaan? Kinabukasan, nagising si Etina. pumasok sa trabaho gaya ng isang normal na araw. Pero pagbalik niya sa apartment, doon niya lang napagtanto ang nakakabaliw na katotohanan. Nandoon pa rin si Karina. Pero hindi na sa parehong anyo kung paano siya dumating. Pagpasok ni Etina sa apartment, nadatnan niya sina Maxim at Yuri na kalmado lang, nanonood ng TV. Parang walang nangyari. Sa lamesa, may isang kumukulong stew, may karne, may patatas, may sibuyas. Inalok siya ng pagkain. Wala siyang dahilan para magduda. Kumain siya. Habang patuloy niyang nilalasahan ang bawat subo, unti-unting bumibigat ang pakiramdam niya. Hindi niya maipaliwanag, pero may kung anong mali. Hindi niya alam kung bakit, pero may isang bagay na hindi tama. At nang sa wakas, hindi na niya kinaya ang kanyang nararamdaman. Tumawag siya sa pulisya. Sa kanya nalaman ang totoo. Ang kinain niya ay hindi ordinaryong pagkain. Ang kinain niya ay si Karina. Nang dumating ang mga otoridad, mabilis nilang inamin ang kanilang kasalanan. Ayon kay Prosecutor Andre Lino, pinira-piraso nila ang katawan ng biktima, kinain ang ilan at itinapon ang iba sa basurahan. At nang tanungin kung bakit nila ito ginawa, ang sagot nila, nagugutom kami. Lasing lang kami. Gaano man nila subukang gawing simpleng dahilan ito, hindi ito kailanman magiging katanggap-tanggap. Ayon sa ulat ni S.G. Stelin, Deputy Head of St. Petersburg Criminal Investigations, inamin nila agad ang krimen. Sinabi nilang ginawa nila ito dahil wala silang pagkain. Ngunit ito ang mas nakakakilabot na katotohanan. Hindi sila naghihirap. Sagana sila sa pagkain. Hindi sila nasa desperadong sitwasyon. Ang St. Petersburg noong 2009 ay isang modernong lungsod. Open ang mga tindahan 24/7. Maraming fast food. Maraming delivery services. May pera sila para sa upa, alak, cellphone, at van equipment. Kailanman, hindi ito tungkol sa gutom. Kapag may isang taong nagsasabing, pumatay sila dahil sila'y nagugutom, ang totoo, ang sinasabi nila ay mas grabe pa, na para sa kanila, ang buhay ng isang tao ay walang halaga. Para sa kanila, mas mahalaga pa ang isang trip sa convenience store kaysa sa buhay ng isang teenager. Isang dalagitang may mga pangarap, may mga ambisyon, at may isang inang naghihintay sa kanyang pag-uwi. Habang si Nadia ay naglalakad sa malamig na mga lansangan ng St. Petersburg, dinidikit ang mga poster ng kanyang nawawalang anak. Hindi niya alam na wala na si Karina. Hindi niya alam na habang nagdarasal siyang makuha kahit isang sagot, ang bangkay ng kanyang anak ay pinagpipiestahan na ng dalawang halimaw na itinuring pa niyang kaibigan. Walang rason ang ganitong brutalidad. Nang tinanong ng mga investigador sina Maxim at Yuri kung bakit hindi na lang sila bumili ng pagkain, wala silang matinong sagot. Dahil paano nga ba nila ipapaliwanag ang isang bagay na wala namang dahilan? Hindi mo pinaplano ang isang pagpaslang ng may malamig at kalkuladong presisyon. Hindi mo hinihiwa ang katawan ng isang inosenteng tao at ikinakalat ito sa buong lungsod dahil gutom ka lang. Ginagawa mo ito dahil may isang bagay sa loob mo ang sira na, ang wala, ang tuluyan ng nabulok. Nagulantang ang buong komunidad. Mahirap isipin ang klase ng kawalan ng puso na kayang tapusin ang isang buhay na parang kasinggaan lang ng pag-order ng pagkain sa delivery app. At habang ang publiko ay naghihintay sa paglilitis ni na Maxim at Yuri, marami ang nababalot ng kakaibang curiosity. Paano ba talaga gumagana ang utak ng mga ganitong klaseng tao? May anumang paliwanag ba na maaaring magbigay linaw sa mga nagawa nila? Sa sandaling magsimula ang paglilitis, pareho nilang binawi ang kanilang naunang pag-amin. Ayon sa kanila, pinilit lang daw sila ng pulisya na umamin. Pero ito ba ang muka ng mga taong wala talagang ginawang masama? Isang paglilitis na puno ng pagdurusa. Nang ipakita ang mga larawan ng ebidensya sa korte, mga larawang nagpapakita ng nilutong stew na may lamang bahagi ng katawan ni Karina, may mga nanonood na hindi napigilang masuka. Ang ilan, napaiyak. Ngunit sina Maxim at Yuri, tahimik lang, walang emosyon, walang kahit anong pagsisisi. Ang kasong ito ay isang perpektong halimbawa kung paano hindi lang ang pangunahing biktima ang nasisira sa ganitong klase ng krimen. Bukod kay Karina, may mga pangalawang biktima, mga inosenteng taong naipit sa madilim na katotohanan. Isa na rito si Ekaterina. Akala niya ang mga kasama niya sa bahay ay mga normal na tao. Pero hindi niya alam, nakatabi niya ang dalawang halimaw na may kakayahang kumuha ng buhay nang walang kahit anong pagsisisi. Ang kanyang testimonya sa korte ang nagbigay ng mas malinaw na larawan kung paano gumagalaw ang mga predator sa lipunan. Hindi sila laging mukhang masama. Madalas, nagtatago sila sa anyo ng isang mabuting kaibigan, isang taong mapagbiro, isang kasamang tila walang kakayahang gumawa ng karumaldumal na krimen. Hanggang sa huli na ang lahat, habang si Ekaterina ay naglalakad papasok sa kanyang bahay noong araw ng krimen, wala siyang ideya na sa mismong kusina niya may nilulutong bahagi ng katawan ng isang kaibigan, ang pinakamasakit na bahagi. Sa buong paglilitis, nanatiling walang emosyon ng dalawa. Habang si Nadia, ang ina ni Karina, ay napipilitang marinig ang bawat detalye na ginawa sa kanyang anak. At hindi mula sa mga pulis na may malasakit, kundi mula sa mga balita sa TV. Isipin mo yan, marinig mo ng detalyado ang paraan ng pagkawala ng sarili mong anak mula sa isang news report. Hindi lang iyon, nalaman din niya kung saan natagpuan ang ilang bahagi ng katawan ng kanyang anak, nakaimbak sa loob ng refrigerator ni Maxim. Sa kanyang victim impact statement, sinabi ni Nadia, "Nasira ang buhay namin sa pagkawala ni Karina. Lalo na sa paraan kung paano kinitil ang buhay niya. Ang sakit ay hindi mawawala. Hindi ko pa rin maintindihan kung bakit nila ginawa ito. Pinalaki ko siyang may tiwala sa iba. Akala ko tama iyon. Mali pala ako. Wala nang sense ang buhay ko nang mawala siya at hindi mawawala ang sakit ng pagkabigo kong protektahan siya." Sa huli, parehong nahatulan ng pagkakakulong ang dalawa. 19 years kay Maxim at 18 years kay Yuri. Isang madilim na pagtatapos o simula. Si Maxim hindi nakatapos ng kanyang sentensya. Noong 2017, natagpo ang patay siya sa loob ng kanyang selda. May iniwan siyang sulat, "Natapos ko na ang buhay ko sa katawang ito. Panahon na upang lumisan at ipanganak muli bilang isang bagong tao." Maging sa kamatayan, ginawa niya pa ring tungkol sa sarili niya ang lahat. Hindi tungkol kay Karina. Hindi tungkol sa mga pangarap na ninakaw niya. Si Yuri buhay pa rin at patuloy na nagsisilbi ng kanyang sentensya. Pero para kay Nadia at sa lahat ng nagmamahal kay Karina, ang tunay na sentensya ay panghabang buhay. Ito ang mga birthday celebration na kailanman ay hindi na mangyayari. Ito ang graduation na hindi na niya mararanasan. Ito ang karerang hindi na magsisimula. Isang buong buhay na ninakaw. At may mas nakakatakot pang lihim. Habang si Nadia ay desperadong naghahanap kay Karina, isang ibang kaso ang natuklasan sa parehong bansa. Isang cellphone, walang password. Mga larawan ng isang lalaking may hawak na putol na kamay. Nakangiti, parang isa lang itong ordinaryong selfie. At doon muling nayanig ng takot ang mundo. Dito na nagtatapos ang istorya at malungkot na pagkawala ng isang dalaga nang dahil lang sa mga taong walang puso at walang pagpapahalaga sa buhay ng iba. Kung nagustuhan mo ang video na ito at gusto mong malaman pa ang iba pang malalalim na kaso ng krimen, huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe at i-turn on ang notification bell para hindi mo ma-miss ang susunod na episode. Stay safe and see you in the next video.